The LA Rams attempt to rebound here in week 4 after taking a tough loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in week 3, but the opponent doesn't get any easier as they are taking on the 3-0 on fire Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here, Rams fans. I thought heading into this season that this Colts game was going to be an easy win. Don't even have to play the game. The Rams have the big advantage. And even now, as they're 3-0, heading into this game preview, I was like, is this 3-0 like a faulty 3-0? Is this a weird kind of team who somehow ended up 3-0? If you could take away anything from this game preview, I want you to know, do not take this Colts team lightly. This team actually looks pretty dang good. Still don't believe me? Here, let me give you some cool stats here about the Colts through the first 3 weeks. So through the first 2 games of the NFL season, the Colts did not punt a single time. On top of that, through the first 2 games of the NFL season, the Colts scored on every single possession without a single turnover. That just happens to be an NFL record now. On top of that, here heading into week 4, they still have no turnovers, whether it be in the run game or even in the passing game. Last week, they put up 41 points versus the Tennessee Titans, which was the highest amount of points that they put up in a game since 2021. And this is the first time the Colts started 3-0 since 2009. So it's safe to say the Colts are having a pretty fun year, huh? In this game preview, I'm going to be previewing the Colts offense versus the Rams defense. What do the Colts do well? Why is Daniel Jones working so well for them? What can we expect from them? I'll also give you some thoughts on what the Rams defense may be able to do against this Colts offense and some key matchups to watch. We'll do the same thing with the Colts defense versus the Rams offense. What are some of the things the Colts defense likes to do? What are some key players and some key matchups to watch, and how the Rams can attack that? And of course, what's a game preview without a score prediction? I'll leave mine at the end of the video. Feel free to leave yours down below. Okay, typically I like to start with the Rams offense versus the opponent's defense, but if you guys don't mind this week, I want to start with the Colts offense versus the Rams defense. Why is Daniel Jones working so well for the Colts? Well, to me, I look at Daniel Jones as another one of these cases of us looking at a quarterback and the numbers that they're putting up and not looking at the situation around them. Most players who play for a New York NFL team don't tend to do too well, and rightfully so. I mean, the coaching, the offensive line, the weapons was just never good for Daniel Jones, and that New York media was really taking down his confidence. A lot of people just gave up on him, but the Colts did not. And this situation that Daniel Jones is in has actually given Daniel Jones a lot of confidence and is helping him to play into the abilities that he's always had, but now he's able to just kind of rise up and play to that level that he was supposed to be playing. I think confidence is always a big thing for a quarterback. If you can build up that confidence, allow them to know that they can play at a high level, that really helps to fix a lot of the other issues. We saw that with a guy like Sam Darnold last year. So yeah, Daniel Jones now here on the Colts actually has the best offensive line he's ever played with, the best group of playmakers he's ever played with, an amazing running back, and the best coach and play designer I think he's ever played with as well. And the scheme just fits him so well so far. The Colts asked Daniel Jones to play a lot of point guard for them, and rightfully so. They have Michael Pittman, who is a really good big body kind of contested catch receiver, but can do a little bit more than your average contested catch receiver guy. They've got Alec Pierce, who can stretch the field, but he's also a big body guy who can get those contested catches. Tyler Warren, obviously the big name tight end out of the draft this year, a lot of Rams fans wanted him, is in this offense as well as Josh Downs. And you can't mention the playmakers without Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I would argue, is the engine of this offense. He has the most rushing yards for any running back in the NFL this year, and he also has the most rush attempts for any NFL running back this year. While Jonathan Taylor is not exactly Saquon Barkley, I would say he's only a little bit below Saquon Barkley. I think not enough people talk about Jonathan Taylor. Got a good blend of speed, power, agility, quickness, vision. He's really got the full package. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is going to be a big key for this game. Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren are the leading target getters here for the Colts and have the most receptions on their team, so watch out for those guys. Pittman against our cornerbacks, who are a lot smaller, is going to be very interesting to say the least. And Tyler Warren, I'm actually kind of curious to see how we match up against him, because the Rams typically don't play the best against tight ends, and Tyler Warren gets used a lot in this offense, has the second most receptions on this offense, gets used in the screen game, gets used as like a big slot, gets used as a tight end. They use him everywhere. This Colts offense is very rhythmic. It's always on time. It just looks very smooth. It's like poetry in motion, to be honest, when you watch them. They have a good balance of running and passing, and there really hasn't been much to critique about them thus far. So that brings me into some of the keys of this game for the Rams defense versus the Colts offense. I think first off, it starts with stopping the run, as you want to do against any team. As I talked about earlier, I think Jonathan Taylor is very similar to Saquon Barkley, and therefore I think we should play a very similar game plan that we did against Saquon Barkley last week. We only let Saquon Barkley have 47 yards on 18 carries, did a really good job against him. made Jalen Hurts have to beat us. I want that same game plan here against the Colts. Stop Jonathan Taylor. Don't let him get going, because if he gets going, this whole offense is really going to be tough to stop. I think another big underrated key for this game is disrupting this passing game and disrupting the timing in particular. Now, I don't know how well the Rams cornerback room can do this, but if we can do some press on these receivers and just try to do anything we can, press, blitz, whatever, to throw off the timing of this offense, make Daniel Jones have to go to his second, third, and even fourth read, and by that time, hopefully we get a sack or force a bad decision, something he hasn't really done a lot this season. I think that's going to be key. This Colts offense is very good, but they haven't played a defense like the Rams yet, especially this pass rush. So how can we get in his face a little bit? I think it's going to be key to kind of morph and do a lot of different kinds of looks defensively, bring those exotic blitzes, bring those pressures, and then drop out. Just change the picture on Daniel Jones a little bit, hopefully make him hold on to the ball a bit longer and help us to get some sacks. When you look at this Colts offense in 2025, they rank very highly. They're second in points per game with 34.3, second in total offensive yards per game with 418.7, fourth in passing yards per game with 265.3, third in rushing yards per game with 153.3, and third in time of possession per game with 33 minutes and 10 seconds. This team's offense is very good. I think some key matchups for the Rams defense versus the Colts offense, I'm going to start with Nate Landman versus Jonathan Taylor. Nate Landman has been key, as well as Bruno Ford, in stopping the run this year for the Rams. Been a great addition. I think him against Jonathan Taylor is going to be key, because we're going to really have to try to take Jonathan Taylor out, not only in the run game, but also in the passing game. Another matchup I look at with this Rams defense versus the Colts offense is Michael Pittman versus whoever we have on him at corner. This could be Jacoby Durant, Darius Williams, Emmanuel Forbes. Other than Emmanuel Forbes, we don't have a cornerback taller than 6 feet tall. And we saw what this looked like last week against A.J. Brown, who's a big physical receiver. We have that both with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce that we're going to be facing this week. So very curious to see how the Rams adjust this week, just being with that size discrepancy. Key matchup here for the Rams is going to be Chris Shula versus Daniel Jones. In my opinion, Chris Shula giving a lot of different kinds of looks, bringing those pressures, bringing those exotic looks to Daniel Jones, who's playing with a lot of confidence right now. To try to just throw him off a little bit is going to be key for this game, and seeing the kind of game plan that we have against Daniel Jones to try to make him have that confidence, be shaken a little bit, is going to be key for me. All right, let's take a look at this Rams offense versus the Colts defense. This Colts defense, I think it starts and stops with a guy like Lou Anarumo. We know him very well from that Super Bowl against the Bengals. Got a lot of respect for Lou Anarumo. Just really like the way that he plays. Each week he adjusts his game plan based on his opponent and really doesn't stick to one philosophy as a DC, and he just kind of changes depending on whatever the offense is throwing at him each week. He's not a guy who really likes to blitz a lot, but when he does blitz, he brings a lot of different kinds of blitzes, whether it be like a double A gap pressure, whether it be a cornerback coming off the edge, whether it be a safety blitz. So while he doesn't pressure a lot, he does bring simulated pressures as well as a lot of different kinds of blitzes. So I think it's going to be very key to see the Rams try to match up against this. If you're not ready for these different kinds of looks that he's going to give you, it's going to be a long day for your offense. He does have some big key pieces in DeForest Buckner, Kenny Moore, Zaire Franklin, Cam Bynum, Leatu Latu, but really the way he makes these guys play and the scheme that he has, the way he's able to adapt each week, is really what separates him from a lot of DCs. Here's the Colts defensive rankings in 2025. The Colts rank 9th in points allowed per game at 18.7. They rank 7th in total yards allowed per game at 272.3. They rank 8th in passing yards allowed per game at 178.3. They rank 8th in rushing yards allowed per game at 94 yards even. They rank 15th in sacks at 7 and 6th in interceptions at 4. Very good defensive unit here, but I don't think that the Colts have seen an offense quite like the Rams yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. Okay, some keys to the game for the Rams offense versus the Colts defense. I think a big one here is going to be getting protections right and identifying things as Coleman Shelton, the center, but also Matthew Stafford, a veteran in this league who's seen every kind of defense. I think recognizing those blitzes before they come, or those simulated pressures, and knowing how to block it up is going to be key for this game, because if you don't do that, then it's just going to really disrupt your game plan. I think even if you don't see the blitz pre-snap as Stafford, to be able to see it post-snap and know where your outlet guy is going to be huge. We also know who DeForest Buckner is as Rams fans. He came from the 49ers, and I think he can really disrupt from that interior defensive lineman position. Hasn't had the best year so far, but I expect him to be a big defensive presence. And with the injuries of Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson, and just kind of the shakiness of our interior offensive line, it's going to be key to try to make sure he doesn't take over the game. I also think a key for this offense is just adjust to whatever Lou Anarumo throws at you. He does adjust and try to take away a big thing from an offense every week. So is he going to try to take away Puka Nacua? Is he going to try to take away Devontae Adams? Or is he going going to try to take away this run game? I had Blake Corum and Kyron Williams running for over 160 yards last week. If I were to take my stab at it, I think he's going to try to take away Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams in the pass attack more and let the running game beat them. So I think the Rams are just going to have that liberty to be able to change and do whatever they want, just coming on the heels of whatever Lou's trying to take away. Some key matchups here for the Rams offense versus the Colts defense. I'm starting with Stafford versus Lou Anarumo, a guy who's seen it all in the league in Matthew Stafford, and a really creative kind of mad scientist guy in Lou Anarumo who brings a lot of different kinds of looks. Just to see the chess match between both of these guys is going to be really fun for me. I also got Kyron Williams versus Zaire Franklin. Zaire Franklin, their middle linebacker, their best linebacker on that defense. Very good tackler, good at identifying the run. To see these two guys and even Blake Corum going against Zaire Franklin is going to be key for me as well. Lastly, I've got Kevin Dotson. I guess you could put Coleman Shelton in there as well against DeForest Buckner. I talked about it earlier. You don't want him to wreck a game. So watching this matchup, watching how the interior does against a guy like DeForest Buckner is going to be huge. In the end, though, I have the Rams winning 27-20. They're going to give us Rams fans some scares. I think that the Rams have enough veteran leadership on the offensive side of the ball and good coaching on the offense and defensive side of the ball to be able to adjust and be able to see what the Colts are throwing at them and adjust well in the game. I really do think it's going to be a fun game, going to be very competitive, going to be stressful, but I think the Rams come out on top 27-20. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, though, horns up and God bless.